When did you stop trusting your parents? The same day that a woman at the mall food court took one look at me and fell to the floor shrieking. I had literally no idea what was going on. Her husband tried to pull her off the ground, but he was crying too. Everyone around us was staring, but they did not care. They were reaching to me and screaming, "How could this be? How are you here? Joseph, Joseph." But my name isn't Joseph. I was so freaked out, like I was just trying to get a Cinnabon. I tried to turn around and just get the heck out of there, because this woman was clearly nuts, but then she ran up to me and grabbed me by the arms. I shook her off and looked around for someone to help me, but everyone was too busy doing that thing where they pretend they're not looking at you when they absolutely are. But then the woman looked at me with her eyes narrowed and said, "You're not him." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about," right as her husband reached us. The woman was crying too hard to speak, but her husband apologized to me and asked if he could please get me a coffee and explain. Half of me really wanted to just get away from them, but the woman was gripping my arm, pleading with me with her eyes, and I couldn't say no. When I sat down, the man said, "It's just that you look just like our son." Then he took out his phone and showed me some pictures. And this isn't like what people usually mean when they say someone looks just like someone else. This guy looked just like me. He had my exact face. The only difference was that he was in a wheelchair. They said that this was their beloved son, Joseph, who had passed away a few weeks before. He was born with spina bifida and had a lot of medical problems throughout his life, but he had been kind and charming. He had a girlfriend who loved him, and before he died he was studying to be a doctor. The whole thing felt like some kind of sick prank, but there were the pictures right in front of me. It was like someone had photoshopped me into someone else's family. My head was spinning trying to figure all of this out. I finally managed to choke out, "What was Joseph's birthday?" They said November 28th, 2000. That's my birthday. At that point they were starting to cry again, and so was I, because obviously we were all putting together that I was their lost son's twin. But I didn't understand how any of this could be possible until they said they adopted him a month after he was born. They asked me when my parents adopted me, and that's when I had to tell them. They didn't. I look like my mom and my sister. I've seen pictures of my parents with me when I was a newborn. I'm not adopted. I felt like I had all these puzzle pieces, but I couldn't figure out how on earth I was supposed to put them together. I got the couple's phone numbers, hugged them for a long time, and then went home to my parents to find out the truth. I showed them a picture of Joseph and my mother immediately broke down. They told me that yes, they'd had twins on November 28th, 2000. They didn't have a lot of money and Joseph had a lot of medical complications. They didn't feel like they could keep him, so after a few weeks they gave him up for adoption. They made it a closed adoption so Joseph could never find them or me, and they decided to never tell me that they'd given my twin up. "We knew you wouldn't understand our decision." Then my dad said, "Well, now that they found you, I guess you can have a relationship with that boy if you want." And I said, "No, I can't, because that boy is dead. Your son is dead." My mom started sobbing, but my dad just sat there emotionless. It's been a few years since that day and I haven't come any closer to forgiving my parents for abandoning Joseph. They're not the people I thought they were, but in a way, I'm grateful they did it. It means Joseph got to have a family that actually loved him, instead of my parents who thought he was nothing more than a burden and a mistake. And now I get to have his parents in my life too. But God, I wish I could have known him. Story 25.